The Four Leaf Clover podcast is sponsored by Planet Celtic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Welcome to the Four Leaf Clover podcast with myself, Andy, and our Jerry. We're missing one tonight. Our Paddy's feeling a bit under the weather, so all the best to you, Paddy, my good man, and from everybody at the Four Leaf Clover podcast, mate, and hopefully you get better soon, my man. Lots to talk about, as ever, when it comes to Celtic, Andy. We don't get a minute. I was just finishing off a wee bit of breaking news there, which we'll all get into, but how has your week been, mate?
Brilliant so far, mate. I'm currently out in Ireland now. And it's been a fantastic week so far. I've not had a week like this for a long time. So middle of the week and the end of the week's looking good as well. So aye, happy enough, mate. Happy enough.
Jerry, we missed you on the post-match show, mate. How's your week been, pal?
Busy as usual, Scotty boy. Busy as usual, but no what? Saturday light nights are getting in there now, so as I keep saying, it's getting lighter every, is it 9 minutes or 8 minutes every week or every day or something? So it's getting better, mate, so it is. But I'll probably be more crab at the next 40 days because that's me, no chocolate, no bed, no crisps, no for 40 days, lads. The whole Lent started a day every year. So I'll be more crab as the days go on. So
Is that possible, Jerry?
Oh, I miss my bread, I must admit. I think that's the hardest one, the bread. So I do. I gear him up for 40 days, mate. So big outsiders, that's the first thing I get when big outsider, man.
I've gave up the women, Jerry, for 40 days. What about yourself, Andy? What have you gave up?
I'm getting nothing up, mate. Nothing at all. I'm still smoking my life away, drinking tea and a wee now and again, but nah, no chance of me getting anything up.
Yeah, terrible.
Good, man. So, like I said, since the post-match show, it's been very busy in the Celtic world, and we've sent our transatlantic reporter, Randy Tim, out, and he's went round all the SPFL games for us. So we're going to hand it over to our main man from America.
Well, thank you, Scotty. How's it going, guys? Good to see you again, Jerry. Okay, so here's my roundup of the Scotch Premiership results at the weekend. The Double D's hosted the Saints of Johnstown at the Dents Park, and it was the Saints who took the lead after 40 minutes. But the Double D's ball poked an equalization reward just 3 minutes later, and the game ended up 1-1 in favor of both teams. Next up, the Super Soccer Squirrels traveled 1,000 miles north to face the Staggies of the county, way up there in the Rockies. Unfortunately for the Super Soccer Squirrels, the Staggies of the county penetrated the Squirrel sack on 35 minutes, and that's how the game ended 1-0 to the county boys. The Soccer Squirrels sent packing down the mountain range after having their nuts rattled for the second game in succession. The Lanarkshire Steelers traveled to the Bronx to take on the Sad Bear 69ers at the Hun Depot Det Dome Arena. Sad Bears interim coach Fergus Hun in charge of the Sad Bears for the first time at home in front of their own cheerleaders. It was Armed Forces Day at the Hun Depot Det Dome, and the people were feeling rather quintessentially British, but the Steelers had other ideas. After just 9 minutes, Steelers forward attack front advancement kicker Armstrong pounced on a mistake from Sad Bear's net protector butt plug when he spilled a pretty easy shot. Then, amazingly and quite amusingly on the 30th minute, Captain Jack Sparrow popped up to slot the soccer sphere past butt plug into the Sad Bear's sad sack to make it 2-0. Coach Fergus Hun wasn't happy at all. He almost kicked Neil the Cant in the face with his size 6 brogues in frustration, and Sad Bear's hand-catch coach, a Hun Mick grabber, sat there in disbelief. The Sad Bears pulled a goal reward back when Cyril Dosser accidentally slotted the ball past the Steelers' handyman. The Sad Bears thought they could retrieve an equalization point, but to no avail, as the Steelers held on for all 3 victory points. The home fans were so distraught they left before the final whistle. Only a few remained, and even the blue empty seats where booing, Coach Fergus Hyun said it was a major disappointment, especially on Armed Forces Day. The Celtics traveled along the freeway to face the Paisley Panda guys at the Panda enclosure. The Celtics opened the scoring on the 28th minute when Sloop Dog Jeff fired the soccer globe beyond the Panda guys' goal safety guard from the edge of the penalty award zone. The Panda guys pulled a goal back just 5 minutes later. Then 1 minute into overtime of the first half, Maeda was hacked down by the Panda guys' defensive linebacker, and the Mason in the black pointed to the center point penalization marker, awarding the Celtics a standoff goal kick. Arnie Engels stepped up and nonchalantly stroked a ball into the net. The Super Hoops ended the first half 2-1 ahead, but quite incredibly, just 3 minutes after the second half started, the Panda guys pulled it back to 2 each through Phillips. Celtics coach Rogers rang the changes. After just 4 minutes on the park, Yang made it 3-2 in favor of the Celtics on the 68th minute. Then on the 88th minute, that man Maeda made 4-2 with a great goal. We were all thinking the game is over now, but Yang scored another to make it 5-2 3 minutes into overtime. Yang bang, thank you, Mom. The Celtics now sit 16 points ahead in the premiership. Sunday saw the Mid-Lothian Huns travel across the city to face their rivals, the Hibernators, at the Easter Egg Arena. The Hibernators never wasted any time when they completed a goal conversion move to make it 1-0 after just 6 minutes, but astonishingly, the Mid-Lothian Huns pulled an equalization strike out the bag to make it even at 1-1, and that's the way the first half ended. Into the second half, it was a pretty even game, but the Hibernators got their second goal, Poke Award on the 74th minute, breaking the hearts of the Lothian Huns. The game ended 2-1 to Hibernators, and their unbeaten run rolls on. The final game of the weekend saw Dubai United travel up the road to face the Northeast Sheep Shearers at the Woolpack. The Arabs took the lead on the 20th minute through former Sad Bears player Middle Hun. Then the Sand Guys doubled their goal tally on the 9th minute of overtime of the first half. A well-deserved lead at the break. The Arabs looked comfortable in the second half and looked like they would leave the Woolpack with the triple points. But the Sheep Shearers attacking forwardization converter. Rab C. Nesbitt pulled a goal back, then miraculously Rab C. penetrated the Sand Guys' goal again in the 91st minute to level the match. It ended 2 each, and they shared the points. Well, folks, that's all from me. I'll see y'all at the weekend. Back to you, Scotty.
What a reporter. You just can't beat him, can you?
Hey, they're worrying about Alistair Johnson, Lean. That Sky Sports is going to steal Randy Timmer, isn't it? Sky Sports. He's not going to stay here long with us, by the way. He's got his own show.
He's different level, this lad. Different level. Andy, well done, sir. That was absolutely brilliant. Genius.
That's Randy Tim. I just got in contact with him when he decided to come on, so thanks very much to him.
Andy, do you think I could do that with all Spectrum 48k plus?
Up right enough.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We'll see him on Friday night as well. Hopefully, I'm sure there's more to come this week from Randy Tim, so we'll leave it there for now. But gents, loads happening, so it's now.
What's happening?
What's happening indeed? Bloody loads of happening. So as Randy Tim said there, St Mirren 2, Celtic 5. Jerry, we didn't have you for the post-match show. Just let's have a quick look at the SPFL table after this week's fixtures. So as we see, the mighty Celtic are now 16 points clear at the top of the table and running away with it. looks like 3 victories now, and the title is back on its way to paradise yet again. On Sunday, we play Hibs in the Scottish Cup, and as we can see, they are absolutely flying in third place now, 15 games undefeated after their victory against Hearts. So going to be a tough game against them at the weekend. But Jerry, we'll come to you first, mate, since we didn't have you for the post-match show. What did you make of that victory against St Mirren? Some game on it?
Scott, cracking game, man, end to end. 2 big strikers for St Mirren, the big boys up front. I mean, their defence obviously struggled a wee bit. They struggled against the physicality folk getting at them. So they did. Listen, we're looking a wee bit jaded a wee bit at the back, so we are. But listen, we can't be too harsh on Celtic, Firepower keeps pulling us out of hold the last couple of games, to be fair, doesn't it? The 3 subs, obviously Yang out the 3 of them, but McCowan and Jota, it's got the 3 of them made a massive difference, so they did. And obviously we're going to talk about Yang later. He's starting to show, and we keep talking about hopefully he can do it when he gets a start, not an all. So he can, but listen, we can't criticise Celtic too much. We're getting the results. We're not playing as great as that. We started there, but the last few weeks have been a wee bit behind me. We've watched Celtic. I know we're going about the 90s and Tommy Bum's teams, but we've played teams after the park and not get any points, Scott. So for me, the results all matters in the end. Obviously playing good football helps a lot, but for me, in the end it was a great result, better second half phase, so it was. But fair play to St Mirren as well, by the way. They had a right good go at us. I heard St Mirren and Oscott. St Mirren had only scored 5 goals in the last 10 years at home against us. And they covered about fucking 5 in Saturday.
I was going to say that, Jerry. It was a kind of weird game, wasn't it? It's like I thought we were lucky to go in 2-1 up at half time. As you said, St Mirren had their chances, mate, and it was that ball over the tap that kept catching us out, wasn't it?
I just gone route 1, mate, getting in a. Dundee done it as well, didn't they, with the boy up front, Murray? Getting at our faces, Scott, just being best and getting at us. And our defence doesn't like that kind of seem to me. We want to bring the ball down and play. You don't get that, you know what I mean? I think Big Trusty looks better in Europe sometimes what he does, and you know what I mean, when he plays in the SPFL sometimes, just because he's playing against a lesser player. But these guys are trying their asses off, you know what I mean? Big Skills comes on again. Big Skills looked a bit again, didn't he? Big man's going through a wee bit of a spell as well. He's can only not up to scratch with the game. He's looking slow now and sluggish. But as I say, I've seen Celtic playing brilliant and coming away with 8 points. So for me, listen, you want to see great football, fast football, and going forward quick and getting results. But sometimes just digging out the mentality of pulling the results out. You know what I mean? The team. I mean, there's a lot of games recently I know, Scott. So there is. They're quite packed. The Champions League, out the thing now, we start picking up better performances, I think now. Less games to play in, But I'm looking forward to Hibs and all, and 2 teams going for it again. I think this Sunday, innit? Sunday is no change that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the result, mate. But no, the performance obviously concerned the first half, but I'm happy with the result, mate. Sommer.
Aye, and the Hibernators game we will cover on Friday night. But Andy, I know I had you on the post-match show, mate. But let's just have a quick chat about it before we move on, my man. It was a mental game, really, wasn't it? It's like I said, we covered it at the time, but lucky to go in 2-1 up. The sort of silly penalty as well that the defender diving in, and it's just a mad game. It could have been 6-5, 7-5. It was one of the games, mate, wasn't it? But what's your thoughts?
Aye, I think what you've got to remember is that teams that St Mirren, when they are willing to have a go at you, they're going to have a sustained period where they're going to be able to do that. They're going to do it the full game. I think ultimately your talent comes through in the end, and you usually find that towards the end of the game. That's when you're going to get more opportunities. When they tire and they can't quite press you as much. I think if they spent the full game being totally defensive, I think they'd probably go on a wee bit better, to be honest with you. I think they would still get beat, but obviously they want to be forward thinking in terms of getting goals, but I think they'd be able to contain us a wee bit better where chances, because when you're defensive that way, you're more structured, you keep your shape better, you're more disciplined, you're not using as much energy, maybe mental energy, but no physical energy. But when they're actually pressing Celtic and trying to take some chances, you can't sustain that for the full game. So, I think eventually that Celtic's going to come through. Listen, it can come unstuck as well, and it can blow up in your face, as we've seen against Hibs, but I think, again, late on against Hibs, we did come back into the game, so it reminded me the St Mirren game was a wee bit of the Aberdeen game, where, we were getting in ahead and wondering how we were getting 3-0 up, and it didn't quite look like that. The first half, it was like this. Looking at it in paper and actually watching the game were two different perceptions of how you've seen the game. But I think, considering the amount of fixtures that we have been through, every other club as well, not just us, but specifically us taking Champions League into account and stuff like that I think we've coped really well. You look at our record, the amount of games we've lost and the amount of games we've won and goals scored as well. I think overall we have had an absolutely fantastic season. We got up against Hibs at the weekend to continue our march towards the treble. And you can't ask any more than that. We've made progress in Europe. Brendan Rodgers is got headed, and we're going to get into Yang specifically, but, Brendan Rodgers really develops players, and I think he's a fantastic coach, and he knows what he's doing, and sometimes we can sit here just as fans and criticise that and the next thing, but my 100% faith is in Brendan Rodgers and what he's doing at Celtic. The guy knows what he's doing, and he will bring success to Celtic. He already has in his previous spell. He's done it already last season, and it's going to get even better this season as well. So progression every season that he's here. And I truly believe that Brendan is going to stay here for longer as well. So I think there's definitely more to come.
Oof. Jerry, what have you got to say, mate, before we move on?
I'm just going to touch on what Andy says there about the goals. That was it's 110 goals last season we got in 44 games. We've got 111 already. So we have, Scott.
Yeah.
In 35 games. So me, the goals are firepower and all. The pace and the power we've got. We could have a bad game now. Instead of put the ball apart with away, and we're always dangerous, even when we're not playing well. We're always dangerous. We always look like we can score, and that's the difference. So it's doing well now.
Aye, and Andy, one boy that I wanted to touch on, man of the match, and rightly so. Let's have a chat about the boy. He's proved a lot of us wrong, including myself and yourself, Andy. Yang, I think the both of us said, he would never make it as a Celtic player, never a Celtic player in a million years. Both of us said that, I've no qualms. I put my hands up and saying that I was one of them that said he'd never make it at Celtic. But I'm delighted to have been proven wrong. The boy is turning into a bit of a player, isn't he?
Exactly, and it kind of makes you cringe when you think of some of the things I've said about him, and it really makes you need to learn your lesson about judging players too soon, especially just what I said about Brendan Rodgers, that he's always had Yang there around about the team. He's never kind of put him away to pasture somewhere else or any idea of putting him right outside the squad. He's always, so there's something that he's always seen in him, that he's believed in him, and he's maybe thought, I just need a wee bit of time just to work my magic with him, and eventually it'll happen. And it just turned out that magic was getting his bird dirty, help him out a wee bit. And I seen somebody mention today saying any chance you could have a word with Ida and go out on a wee night out with Ida or something like that, get him going again. So no disrespect to Young's girlfriend, but I think it's obvious that Brendan's been working with him, or the other coaches working on his game, that kind of final part that his comparisons were made to Mikey Johnson, that Mikey Johnson didn't have that, and he was a lot older as well, had a lot more chances than what Yang had. Again, he's trying to immerse himself in the culture. For what I hear, he doesn't use an interpreter, so he's determined to learn the language, and do it the hard way. So that shows you the commitment the guy's got. He's basically he's out here, he's selling his girlfriend's here now, but he's out here himself for South Korea. So a big culture shock for him. But he certainly, it's going to stop me from actually judging a player and putting any bad comments about a player from now on, because that's a couple of times now I've been stung. I can remember saying no exactly nice things about Liam Scales, and you can say whatever you want about Liam Scales now, but I'm talking about in the beginning and saying he simply wasn't good enough. I say maybe he's Aberdeen class, but no Celtic. But then Rodgers really, he got an opportunity to team, and Rodgers working on him and coaching him every day. He really came onto a game, and he was probably one of the first pick defenders in the team. Obviously, it's a different situation now, but it just shows you that given if you've got a top class coach and somebody that's willing to learn, then you're going to get good results out of that. And I think we're seeing that now with Young.
Aye, and that's maybe a good shout about Adam Ida as well, mate. Maybe the girlfriend could work some magic there. Maybe they could have a bit of a yang bang, having a ball. Bit of Rita Sue and Bob too. Get either round and watch a bit of Rita Sue and Bob too, and everything will be fantastic. Jerry, young Yang, amazing.
Aye, he's improved a lot. I think we had this conversation in January, who was staying, who was going loan. And I think I went with loan. Maybe look back at the podcast, maybe catch me when I'm lying, but I'm sure that says because his age, maybe get him out on loan. No, 22 years of age. Get him to our SPL team, see how he came, because he just wasn't cutting it, Scott. He was coming on 10 minutes here and there. He looked fat, but you're starting him. We always agreed he was an impact player. We just need to see merit when he started. And by the way, see him scoring that goal, all the players are out. I was reading during the week, the players all love him. They all love him, his attitude. The guy goes in, he's no hassle. Rodgers talking about him, no moans and groans. He works hard every day. Rodgers is so happy for him, for all his efforts putting in. So he's just got to do it more consistent now. So he's got a chance now, and obviously he's reading his misses here. And obviously, we're all laughing about that. But that obviously helps, by the way. That helps ending any worker. Your wife's there, you know what I mean? Happy wife, happy life, innit? So, for me, that'll be helping the boy. So, well, but everything's looking good for him. It's just a matter of keeping it going. But how does he get into your team? But every week, I know he's young, but we're going to seriously talk about his Jota and Meader and, well, they two especially. You know what I mean? Up there. It's hard for him. But he's young. He's got a lot of time on his side. He's improving every time, and it's all down to, let's be honest, Rodgers, he's improved. They all seem to improve under Rodgers. So they are definitely improving under Rodgers, Scotty.
Well, that's a question I was going to ask you, lads. Body language is a massive thing in football, as you know, and we've seen it with Kyogo just before he left. He was scoring, wasn't he, celebrating? There's another guy who's came up for a bit of flack recently, is our Kuhn. He doesn't seem to be happy body language wise, I've noticed, and a few other fans have noticed as well. He was up there with Maeda for a guaranteed for Player of the Year. His form sort of suffered recently as well. Is that maybe somebody you'd maybe think to be looking at dropping for Sunday for Yang coming in, Andy?
I don't know what's happening with Kuhn. I don't know if he's the type of player that if his standards drop, as in his performances, then it gets to him and it puts him in a bad mood because he's angry at himself, or if his nose has been put out of joint a wee bit with kind of Jota coming in, being the superstar on the other side.
Yeah.
Maeda stepped up his game, not just for his wing play, but his forward play as well now. Is he stardom dwindled a wee bit in his own head? I don't know. But again, I'm not going to criticise the guy. He's had an absolutely fantastic season. I think he's a fantastic player. And every player goes through a wee kind of period where their kind of performances just drop that wee bit. I think obviously he's raised his standards that high that if he does drop off even slightly, it's seen as almost a kind of crisis and what's wrong with him. I do understand the whole body language thing because he doesn't look happy. I think he's simply, well, from my personal point of view, I don't think he's happy with himself. I don't think he's happy with his performances. And I think that's why he is the way he is. I don't think it's anything. Well, I hope it's no, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, Jerry, there's loads of rumours swirling at the minute that there is an issue between him and Jota that I've seen on fans forums and things like that. There's an issue between the both of them. Also, there has been a dip in his form, for the standards that he's had for this season. Like Andy said, we're not going to criticise him, but he's no flying like he was flying. It was neck and neck between him and Maeda for Player of the Year. Now Maeda's, light years away. He's an absolute certainty for Player of the Year now. But there's been a few comments here in our comments as well. Would you fling Yang in instead of Kuhn, or would you keep it as is and just keep him as that impact player?
I would still early doors for him, Yang, for me anyway. I would still keep Kuhn. Go for it. I've always said the strongest team now at the end of the season, so I'll go for it, get a treble. But listen, wingers, it's a hard thing to play the wingers because you need the ball out to you and you need to be confident. You need to need confidence for a winger, so you do. If you don't have confidence, your game's not the same. So it's all down to a bit of confidence with a winger. Maybe just going through a wee confidence. We always drop a wee during the season. I still think there's a hell of a lot of games for Christmas. See, for Christmas period.
Yeah.
You could be carrying a wee injury or anything and obviously still playing on, and sometimes it doesn't help you. You just don't know. Rumours will always surface when new guys come in, and it happened to fucking back to the days of Hartson and remember Sutton and how she got it all there. They don't talk to each other and all fell out. I mean, you even heard it back then to me when they bring it happens in every team. I just think his form's dipped a wee bit. As you say, Andy's mentioned there, his standard was high there. So you maybe not happy with yourself. I mean, I've watched him recently, Scott. I feel as if he's not getting into the tackles as much.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe it was a wee injury. Because he's running hard up to the guy, but he's not going that wee extra yard and actually putting a challenge in. So I don't know if it's a wee injury or something, but listen, you always hear these rumours, but still a bit early for Yang, I think. Strong team for us for Sunday. Full team, I think.
Yeah, well, bang on, lads, bang on. And then moving on, there was some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, that happened just before we came online. I checked my Twitter just before I came on, and Michelle in the comments caused murders by tagging me in this. And Anthony Joseph has updated that Celtic, Motherwell and Rangers have been punished for breaching SPFL rules due to pyro in the stands at this season's League Cup semi-finals and final. So 500 Celtic fans will be banned from Hampden, the SPFL sanctions have confirmed. So Celtic will see their Hampden allocation cut by 500 tickets for the next cup tie at the National Stadium after the SPFL handed down sanctions for pyrotechnic use by supporters. The same punishment applies to Rangers, while Motherwell received a suspended penalty because theirs was just for the semi-final, remember. The decision follows incidents during Celtic's League Cup semi-final against Aberdeen and the final against Rangers, where flares and other pyrotechnics were set off in the stands. An independent panel, wink wink, found all three clubs guilty of breaching SPFL Rule H34, which prohibits the use of pyrotechnics in the stadiums. As well as the immediate 500 ticket reduction, Celtic and Rangers have also been given a suspended sanction if their supporters are caught using pyrotechnics at an SPFL competition before the 30th of March 2027. Their Hampden allocations will be cut by a further 800 tickets for a future League Cup match. Motherwell have been found guilty of only one offence, received a suspended penalty, but have avoided an immediate reduction. Celtic could return to Hampden this season if they beat Hibernian in the Scottish Cup quarter-finals this Sunday. The impact of the sanction is likely to be minimal, with home cup ticket scheme members still expected to secure seats. However, the decision does highlight growing concerns from the authorities over fan behaviour at major fixtures. So I've managed to find this before we came on. Now I'm a little bit blind, so I'm going to have to get a wee bit closer, so I'm sorry if I scare you. But here's Celtic's actual punishment. So the Commission found Celtic to have breached SPFL Rule H34 in respect of both the semi-final and the final of the Premier Sports Cup. In respect of the breach regarding the semi-final of the Premier Sports Cup, the following sanction was imposed. A suspended sanction of a reduction of 800 tickets for a future Premier Sports Cup match to be played at Hampden Park in the event of another breach of the SPFL Rule H34 through pyrotechnic use by supporters of the club in any SPFL competition, as we stated earlier. So basically, an immediate reduction of 500 tickets for the next Premier Sports Cup match to be played at Hampden. That's Celtic's individual punishment. Andy, what's your thoughts on that, my good man?
Right, so it's a SPFL League Trophy, right? No matter who it's sponsored with, it's a League Trophy, so it's what to do with SPFL, who run the league. I don't remember anything coming out about any league games with pyro. That's appeared. I don't know. I may be wrong, but somebody can correct me. But I don't believe any punishments are put in place for any league games, as far as I'm aware. So it's just League Cup games that we're talking about here. And if Motherwell's losing 500 fans for a further tie at Hampden Park, you can forget them taking any fans, because that's probably all they take with them. I think it's unfortunate for fans that aren't involved in that. I don't condemn it and I don't condone it. I think it is what it is. I can see it for both sides. They also have, the organisers have got pyrotechnics on the park as well, so I take it they'll need to cut that out. No more of that on the park. The big flames going up in the air and stuff like that, you know. So it's come out the blue. I never had any idea that it was even on the cards that this was going to happen. I never heard any inkling at all, and I was totally shocked when you actually, just before we come on air, that you informed us about that. So I don't really know how to process that, just finding out about it. I think I'm really quite surprised, to be honest with you. They're obviously taking the hard line that UEFA's taking when it comes to pyrotechnics in the stadium for fans, but it's quite strange that they're only pinpointing League Cup matches at Hampden. Is it just at Hampden, or is it any stadiums?
Looks like it's just Hampden, mate. It's pretty mad. And Jerry, just another thing as well, it's difficult enough for fans, especially those on the home ticket scheme, as you will be yourself, mate, being a season ticket holder. It's difficult to get a ticket out the ballots for these as it is. So having 500 and potentially another 800 would be 1,300 Celtic fans missing out for one or two people sometimes. We've seen it as well in the European game. One person flinging a flare onto the pitch at the Aston Villa game. Where does it end? And this could be just one person who's been lucky enough to get a ticket for that game, turn up, fling a flare on the pitch, whatever. And 1,300 fans have to miss out because of one idiot. It goes on and on and on. Do you ban supporters groups because it's in one section? I mean, where does it end? But this is what they've come out. This is what they've come away with.
It just seems a bit bizarre. I don't think so. The whole thing seems to be a bit bizarre, as you say. It's just come out, and as Andy says, just the League Cup games at Hampden. So they take tickets. Where they do the other tickets? Just stopping our fans going or getting the tickets elsewhere, because other teams are not even taking tickets for these League Cup games. So the stadiums are not even going to be full anyway. Half of them now, when Celtic Rangers don't play. To me, it's bizarre. Don't get me wrong, I see the point. They need to be seen to be doing something about it, Scott. This is them trying to do something. As Andy said, they're taking the kind of UEFA. I mean, that's what they go. There's empty seats at Glasgow Derby semi-final next League Cup. It's not even across the board, as Andy said. It seems just be one kind of like the League Cup section, the SPA. I think it's even the SPL. It's strange. There must be other ways. Listen, we've talked about it and all getting done in a safer manner, Scott. The Italians have allowed it, so we know that. So there must be, what are they buying in to use it? The stuff they're using. Somebody says no is no as good, but you can't have no as good as we're looking for an option, a couple of options here how we can keep it going and keep it safe. But somebody says in Hampden anyway, I'll be honest, I don't even bother even trying to get a ticket for Hampden now, Scott. I don't even really like it, to be fair. As I was saying there as well. So I stopped even trying to get a ticket for Hampden. So I did. Again. But it seems, I know you've just told us about it, but it seems quite bizarre, mate. The whole thing. How somebody mentioned, I know Aberdeen did it, but nothing's happened.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
So you can't just hang with one, Celtic and Rangers and the usual, no, unless punishments for everybody else, fans-wise. I mean, to be the League Cup, it's like the comes to ticket situation, I know I'm going to have it, but if you tell all these teams, whatever you take to the quarter-finals, semis, and that's what you'll get for the final, to try and generate better quality of fans at the quarter-finals and semis. They're not, you know what I mean? It's things like that, then they're talking about banning us for these games as well now.
Do you know what, Jerry? Do you know what really irks me, right? We're obviously going to talk, I think we're going to talk about the Hibs allocation at Celtic Park, right? Now, I watched that Edinburgh Derby at the weekend, and there was a hell of a lot of empty seats in the Hibs end, and I'm thinking, if they can't fill their own stadium, which isn't the biggest stadium, against their arch rivals at home, why should they get 7,000 tickets for Celtic Park? I just don't get it.
I know, there's I say 17,000 Easter Road and the Hearts end, you couldn't see a seat there, they were full.
Yep.
And there's Hibs. If they can't go out for us, Hearts, Celtic, Rangers, you see it even the Celtic Rangers games, the seats. But it's just mad how they do that for the games and all. And you say you're wanting 7,000 for, they're getting 7,000 for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually sold the 7,000 and sold 5 or something.
400 tickets left to sell, they've got.
See the thing is, Jerry, see this game was at the start of the season or nearer the start of the season when they were absolute push. You'd be lucky if they sell 1,000 tickets for Celtic Park for that time. You know what I mean? So they come and go as the team perform when it comes to ticket kind of allocations.
There's one of why 7,000 as well, because I've never seen another team bring that much.
20%, mate. 20% of the stadium.
Well, it has always been that, but there's never been a demand.
I thought I knew it was something like that, but I'd never seen that kind of part of the Rangers games. No, years ago. But just think it's quite bizarre. This thing is just a one association. It's doing this for me. I thought even, as Andy says, you needn't hear any whispers about it, Scott. Usually hear a few whispers. Yeah. Something's going to happen, but it just came out the blue, isn't it? So it has.
I'm surprised that Keith Jackson hasn't broke the story, because he's the man that breaks it. Obviously he didn't make that story up, so he's not going to break it.
I'm going to get onto him, but just to finish off, great point there for Michelle. So exactly, and the general ticket sales for Celtic fans was delayed for 2 days. So Hibs got first dibs for the tickets. How the hell is that fair?
Yeah.
Season ticket holders and general sales tickets left out again. Yeah, I think this is going to be one that rumbles on and on and on. And great point as well about Aberdeen. It's pretty mad how they've been sort of kept quiet about all this. Yes, Jerry?
Just you were saying about tickets, that was the Rangers ticket because I upgraded my daughter's ticket when she doesn't go. That just came out yesterday and I've got to get that upgraded for Friday. I've got to the Friday the 7th to upgrade my daughter's ticket to an adult ticket for, and you're thinking, it's like 2 and 3 days. I'm sitting waiting, it's just came out. I think it was yesterday. I've got to Friday to upgrade that ticket or it goes away elsewhere, you know what I mean? But
aye, it's always been a contentious subject amongst fans, and like I said, I'm sure it's going to rumble on, and it's maybe something we can touch on Friday. It was just breaking news there, ladies and gentlemen, before we came on, so we'll have a wee bit of hindsight on Friday's pod and we might touch on it a bit more then. So moving on, lads, there has been more sort of concrete interest. We spoke about him last week on the pod, and this man here, Alistair Johnson, Andy, it's came out that Inter Milan are now very interested in our right back. So it's a wee bit of an upgrade for the two English teams we spoke about last week. But seems to be gathering pace. A lot of interest now, and probably rightly so. You know, the guy's been fantastic for us. But what are you making of this news? Inter Milan interested in our right back?
It's just talk, mate. That's all it is. I think that the higher level your players play at, and they play at a performance at that level, they're putting themselves. We've got to realise that our players are putting themselves in a short window. We need to get to grips that that's the type of club we are. We're going to bring players in, develop them, and they're going to get noticed in the Champions League or wherever it may be, World Cups or like that. You know, he's a international, proven international player who's very good international performances he's had, as well as playing for Celtic in the Champions League. He's a very committed player. He puts 100% into every performance. He's a warrior. So I'm no surprised with any kind of interest we get with any of our players, because they have been put in a short window. And the position we're in with a type of kind of transfer business that we do, then it's probably something the club would look at, depending on obviously transfer fees and stuff like that. But obviously nothing's going to happen now. It could happen in the summer, who knows? I think Alistair is totally committed to Celtic. He's not. I don't even think he's going to be the type of player that would let any speculation like that get to him. I think he's fully focused on doing his best for Celtic, and whatever will be, will be. We can't get too attached to any players at our club because we're not in that. We can't keep players very early for longer than 5 years. It's usually maybe the 2-3 year mark, and then the better players that we bring in, they're selling them on. And you can't argue with Celtic because the business they've done is put us where we are financially. They know, you know, they're very shrewd in their business and their selling clauses and stuff like that. Even you look at players like Frimpong, how long he's been away from the club, and he could still be making the club money if he makes another move. So they're very good with their transfer business. I don't want to see any player leaving, but you need to be realistic here, you know, that we can't keep a hold of top quality players for the rest of their career. It's just not going to happen. So unfortunately, I don't think he's not been the first, and he certainly won't be the last that's going to be linked to elsewhere. It's just something we need to get used to.
Aye. And Jerry, you know, he's been touted as a future captain once Calmac, calls it a day. But we've got a guy coming up for Arsenal who's definitely going to go in as vice captain when he comes back through the door. So he moves down the pecking order when it comes to things like that. But the guy's been absolutely brilliant for us. He's always going to get linked with folk. But is he a player that you see maybe going for the brighter lights than Celtic, if there is such a thing, in the summer to Inter Milan, or is he somebody that you see sticking around?
It's a bit of both. I think sometimes the club makes that decision for you, Scott. So do they. Let's be honest. As Andy says, there's one thing we can't argue with is a model. You go in. Look, I thought Janovic was absolutely brilliant. Then all of a sudden he comes in and I forgot about him straight away. So, and Celtic just seem to be doing this, bringing him in, moving him on. And it's been working. And it looks like Inzaghi's could be interested in Johnson, but we all know he's going to be the captain. But listen, 26-year-old international, as Andy says, to me he's an 8 and 9. He's an 8 every week. He's a winner. I know he's already been a good football player, but he's got a devil bit to him. I know he's you know what I mean. He's a good football player, but he likes to fucking. Listen, this league's been good for him and all because the league suits him. The league suits him because he loves that. He loves that dig. But listen, that's one thing Andy says. You just don't know what could happen here, Scott, because he can maybe want to stay, maybe not want to stay. We've never got the answer to that. To me, but he's been a great player for Celtic. Solid right back. As soon as you start playing, apart from the Dortmund game, I don't think he had a bad game in the Champions League. And when you start doing that in the Champions League, folks going to sit up and take notice of you. So when you're playing, you're solid in the Champions League. So yeah, and then I think he's got a bit of everything. Steady, good player. So he has, and he's hard as nails as well, and all. So he has.
He's definitely.
Somebody says fingers crossed. Maybe it's another player. It's not his turn. It's not his time. No, but it will be Sunday. No, think so. It will be one player or two in the summer. What's been happening? We just hopefully fingers crossed it's no Johnson's time. Maybe get another 2 seasons out of him at least.
Well, Jerry, you have just set me up nicely there, because Andy's friend at the Daily Record, Keith Jackson, has been shouting his mouth off this week, Andy, saying that he's got some quotes about Rio Hatate wanting to leave Celtic this summer. He's the only person in the world that's got quotes, not direct quotes from Rio Hatate or anybody else, but Keith Jackson quotes, as ever. And the man being lined up to replace him, there has been mounting speculation this week that Lennon Miller is coming to Celtic in the summer. There has been more and more talk about this week. The talk is mounting up now. Now, would you take Lennon Miller and let Rio Hatate leave? It's looking like 10 to 15 million pound mark for Rio Hatate. And I think we could get Lennon Miller for around about the 4 or 5 million pound mark as he goes into his last year of his contract. Now, you spoke about it earlier, Yang developing, Brendan Rodgers developing Yang. He's got a proven record with young players. Raheem Sterling's another one I can think of. Lennon Miller coming to Celtic would be a revelation, and Brendan Rodgers would turn him into something fantastic. Andy Halliday made a quote on the Open Goal Sport podcast, and he said something about Udinese. There's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he's better than that. The sky's the limit for him, really. Motherwell are very lucky to have Lennon, and he's really lucky to have them. It's been a club that's given him a platform at such a young age. It's allowed him to develop, allowed him to make mistakes, and let him grow and become the player he is just now. I don't think there's any doubt Lennon's going to continue to grow, then outgrow Motherwell. You see the kind of clubs that he's been linked with over the last couple of months. And Andy, one of them is mounting speculation that is Celtic. Would you take Lennon Miller at Celtic, pal?
Aye, first I go into that. I don't believe a word that comes out of Keith Jackson's mouth. There's a reason why they're pulling away for the whole kind of newspaper situation and doing a podcast route. It's because that's where real information is put out, as in the fan network. We tell it as it is, and we put information as we get it, and it's usually through fans' forums and stuff like that. It's no half a cardboard journalism. And James Wiper made a great point earlier on when he said there doesn't happen to be a big game coming up in a couple of weeks' time, does there? You know, the usual shite that he comes out with. But other than that, we know that Celtic were linked with Lennon Miller in the January transfer window, so we know there is interest there, as there is for other clubs. So if we are intending to try and bring in Lennon Miller, then there's certainly going to be competition there for other clubs, whether it be down south or Italy or wherever. The boy was at Celtic when he was younger, and he was taken out of Celtic to go elsewhere, obviously for his development. I think his father's maybe seen a better pathway somewhere else or a quicker route into a first team. And fair dues, because Mother will give young players a chance, because that's the situation they're in. We're in a different situation. Is the reason why that our youth system doesn't work so well, because we need to win every single game, and less chances can be taken with younger players. So you need to buy in ready-made quality. I think he's certainly come on leaps and bounds at Motherwell. He has been the captain for a while till he get injured, and I think the captaincy went elsewhere. It might have been Halliday, actually. It was the captain at the Undead Superdome, whatever it is.
He was.
Aye. So I think he's done really well. There's going to be serious interest, and I think you're talking about 8 million for Lennon Miller. That's the numbers I've heard quoted, up near that mark. I think that could possibly be out of Celtic's range for his age. I'm talking about, until he's further proven. But then you've got young players like Arne Engels, who's come in for 11 million. And has he achieved more than what Lennon Miller has? I don't know. But I certainly do like him. as a player, and I think it makes it. I think we've all spoke about Hatate leaving, that he's maybe at that point where he's had his time at Celtic, and it's probably in his best interest and your best interest that he moves on. So I'd be quite happy with if Hatate did leave, and if we got Lennon Miller in, because he's at a very good age, and working under Brendan, I think he's only going to get better. But I think if I were to hear the 8 million is a bit steep, I think that's quite off-putting, certainly for us. Maybe other teams that can afford that and probably see that as just change in their pocket would maybe take a punt on Lennon Miller. But I think, depending on the price, if it's too high, Celtic simply won't even go down that avenue.
No, bang on, mate. I'm with you. If Rio Hatate leaves, I would definitely take Lennon Miller in a heartbeat. I think he's the best young Scottish talent kicking about. I wouldn't pay £8 million for him, obviously, in his last year in his contract at Motherwell. But I think the £4 or £5 million mark would be a reasonable amount for him, Jerry. There's more and more speculation this week. I don't know if it has been for Andy's mate that's it started all this with the Rio Hatate rumours and all the rest of it, but Celtic seem to have concrete interest in the boy. Is he a player that you would bring in the summer?
I would bring him in. So he's the best talent. We've got young talent in Scotland. So for me, it's no brainer. But listen, I don't want Hatate to go the other way. I'd rather he stayed as well. I'd rather the two of them are there. I'd love to see Lennon come, but I don't want to see Hatate leave either. But as Andy's mentioned, if he's hearing that it's 8 million, I mean, you'd expect. I know a lot of Italian teams are watching the Scottish young players, but Italian teams won't even pay 8 million, Andy, for that.
Yep. Well, it's high. It's very, very high.
Italian teams are looking about us because they're doing well with taking Scottish boys out of Italy. But no way would even Italian teams pay 8 million. It's the only place that pay 8 million is English clubs. And I don't see much speculation for the English teams. Yep. If it's in 4 million bracket, to me, Celtic can't watch him leave for that kind of money, 3 or 4 million, because we've done it a few times and boys are on to better things. So for me, but the 8 million makes it a different. There's no way in this world Celtic will hand do 8 million, but they'd hand do 8 million for somebody else, another country, young talent, Scott. But they'll no hand the Scottish club 8 million. And he was outstanding. I think he was man of the match for Motherwell on Saturday there against Rangers as well. And if Andy Halliday says he's this and that, that's a guy who works for him every day. I've always seen the boy, to be honest, he's played against Celtic. He looked alright. I wouldn't say he set the England fire. He looked alright. But when we just been reading things about him, I don't really know. I'll still be honest enough to say I don't really say I know hundreds about the boy. But listen, when you're young and he's got that kind of talent, and other players are saying he's got that talent, that's good enough for me. So at 4 million mark, I would say Celtic should jump in there, get him, don't let him go elsewhere and then become a better player. And under Rodgers, I think he's going to get better again. So he is. But I'd still like to see Hatate stay as well, to be fair. I think Hatate is a good player. I like Hatate.
I just think he's very inconsistent, I mean, just look at the game at the weekend, for example. I didn't think he was having a good game at all. No. Then took Kalmak off, made the subs, and he was a different player, sensational. That's what you get with Rio Hatate. I think he's too hot and cold, and we'll see. But I think this is a great point here for Brown Warrior. I think it'll be 5 million plus one of our developing players going the other way on loan. Bonner, perhaps. That's a great shout for me. Using young Bonner, for example, as a sweetener, a boy who's not going to get a lot of game time. But if you give him a season at an SPFL club, like we've said a million times before, stop playing the talented young players in the B team. Get them out to SPFL teams. I know the three of us are big advocates for that. Get these boys out playing in the big boys league instead of 5 tiers before, Jerry.
See, that's what's wrong, Scott. That's what I keep whinging about. You must deserve football. You something there. The B teams and that, young boys and stuff, it's no making them physical enough. I think the reserve football I'd love to see that back in Scotland. And there's folk like we talk, Ralston. I mean, Ralston can go weeks and weeks of foot kicking a ball at all, instead of playing on a Monday night reserve football and getting asked to play on a Saturday. Listen, that boy comes in and does brilliant for Celtic because he isn't playing. And all of a sudden he's got to switch on and play because he's not going to go and play with B teams. But he'll be playing reserve football. To me, reserve football with all the guys coming back for injuries, all the senior pros, you were playing against all the older teams, squads. To me, it would give the boys a better thing on a Monday night or Tuesday night reserve football, Scott, making them a bit more ready for and especially the Celtics got a squad of 25. Some of them could be playing every week in the reserves, so they could be. To me, that would help massively. So it would.
Aye, it's something I'd love to see back in Scottish football as well, but who knows? So the last point I've got for you, ladies and gentlemen, for what's happening tonight is this man here. I spoke to the lads in the green room just before we came on, and they weren't. Andy wasn't aware of last night's result. Ayr United, by the way, in the Championship are absolutely flying. I don't know if you guys in the comments have been keeping an eye on Bruni's progression, but if you have a look at that last night, they were 2-0 down, and then on the 66th minute, they came back and won the game 3-2. And if we have a look at the Championship table, it's getting towards the end of the season, obviously. Falkirk, Ayr United and Livingston are fighting it out up the top there. But what a job Scott Brown is doing there, lads. It would be fantastic to see him, Andy, in the Premier League next year with Ayr United. He's done an unbelievable job there at Ayr United.
He has. I've got to be honest, I've not been keeping close tabs on the results and stuff like that, but he's obviously, he's been doing it at Fleetwood, had a bit of an experience there and came up to Ayr. He had McGeady helping out with the coach. I know McGeady's away doing a bit of kind of, I don't know what he's doing, scouting work down south or something as far as I'm aware. So he's doing the business at Ayr United. They could possibly get into the Premier League. I like Falkirk as a team. I think they play really good football. They're a good team to watch. McGlynn's a good coach. But I'll tell you something. If that Livingston get up into our league again, I'm chucking it. I seen Martindale moaning about grass pitches, right? And he's saying, I can't believe that people are moaning about AstroTurf in Scotland, just obviously because they were on the state of some of the pitches. If you think that the parks that he plays on are suitable for professional players to play on, then honestly, I can't stand that wee guy. Even the sound of his voice makes me cringe. It's like somebody scraping a blackboard. I can't listen to him. He talks one load of shite. So I don't want to see him anywhere near our league or his fucking shite team and all. He's talking about he can't get the ball down and play football. When has Livingston ever played any kind of football? It's all kick and rush and route one football. So he talks a load of nonsense. So I certainly want either McGlynn or Bruni to do well and get Livingston further down that table, man. As a football club, they just annoy me, and particularly the guy in charge. And I'm sorry for getting off in a wee rant here. It's totally nothing to do with Bruni, but I can't stand that, man.
Andy, can you not put Randy Tim's voice? Oh no.
We'll need to do that from now on. So Jerry, just looking at that, he's doing fantastic, isn't he? And we know how good Queen's Park's goalkeeper is. He had a shutout recently at the Debt Dome, didn't he? But the boy looks fantastic, by the way. I think he'll end up at a Premier League team next season. Maybe even Ayr United, where Bruni, if he comes up. What a job he's doing, eh?
Brilliant. By the way, Ayr United are going places. New stand, set up. I mean, Bruni's been doing there, and he's been doing there with a Celtic attitude. And they boys have bought into it, Scott. They're running through bright walls for Bruni, the way he did it for his managers. They're all doing the same for him. By the way, Ayr United, they're definitely up. And I'll tell you one thing, I've told you before, I don't even bother with English football now. I don't even watch it tactically, trying to suss each other out, and the game's boring. the Friday night championship is the best football to watch. I come after it. Obviously, before we know this stuff Friday, I would watch the full game, but I'm catching the end with my football coupons now. No one is now, no beating any crisps now on a Friday night watching it. The Friday night championship football is two teams just going for it. There's no just honest players just fucking going for it. Goal. Some of the games have been cracking on a Friday night, so on that championship. As you say, Falkirk and Andy, even Partick Thistle, to me, I think maybe changing the leagues now. I know they'll never go on, but they'll maybe get into a decent league, bringing 4 or 5 or 8 teams into your league. So, no, because some of the crowds are all the good crowds with them. They play good football.
Yeah.
But the Championship's better than the English Premier League for me anyway, Scotty boy. And Scott Brown's doing a fantastic job. Ayr United might not make the Premier League next year, but Scott Brown might.
Aye. Maybe.
What kind of team do you think fits Scott Brown? What kind of team can you see him getting into? Could you see him getting into like an Aberdeen and doing a job or a Hibs or something like that?
Well, Hibs is obviously the obvious, Andy. Celtic's just a bit early for him now. He'd need to go and prove himself with Hibs or Aberdeen. Remember, you've got to remember Dundee United, I know sometimes, and teams like that. To be the next manager's job comes up in the Premier League, he'll be sniffing about. He's got to be looked at. So he has. I remember the last job he came up there, and I think he'd been on a wee bad run. Did you know, Scott? Remember?
Yeah.
Scott Brown's on a wee bad run. I even thought at that time Hibs maybe went for him, but it's still a bit early. But listen, I think he'll be in the Premier League one way or next year somehow.
I don't think the Hibs job will be up for grabs, lads. The way Gray's gone there, unless
do you know what, Scott? The good thing with Hibs is they've gave that guy a chance. They've stuck with him. They could have quite easily pulled the trigger on him, and they stuck by him, and fair play for doing that. And
great to see.
They've got a wee bit of money behind him now as well, which kind of helps. But he's certainly done a good job with him.
Great signing as well. McGrath coming in there next season too.
I'd love to have seen him at Celtic, by the way. I thought he was a brilliant player.
They could be the team to split the Glasgow teams next season. Flying, absolutely flying. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was...
What's happening?
Now, I'm now going to hand over to our esteemed colleague at the bottom there, our Jerry, who has got a new segment for us. He's going to explain everything, and it is...
Jerry's Secret Celt.
Go for it, Jerry.
All right, lad. So,
explain the new segment for us while I get a pen and a bit of paper.
So, hey, see what I know the rules as well, Scott? Go for it.
Yeah.
So the drill is, lads, if the guess who the player is, if you get it in, I've got 10 facts about this player, Andy, all right?
Right.
If you get it in the first 3, you get 5 points. If you get it in the first 3. If you get it in the next 3, you get it in 3 points. And it's down to 2 points for 3. If you get it in the last one, the 10th one, there's only 1 point.
Right.
So it's basically 5 points down to 3 to 2 to 1. The more points I give you. So it is.
Oh, Christ, I can't find my bloody pen. Doesn't matter. I'll get off the copy head.
So,
get it up, EJ.
So what I've done 4 players, Scott. So start.
I heard it, mate. I heard it, my man. Go for it.
So remember, you can only get it. You can only get it with a sure shot.
Right.
You know what I mean, Andy? So start with you next time, Andy. So here we go, lads. All right. This is for 5 points. Right. I started my senior football with Clyde Bank. Scott, remember, if you guess and it's not right, that's you lost it. You've lost it. Goes to the next person.
No.
Andy, then I went on to Dundee United in 1983.
Dundee United.
$1983. No.
On to number 3. This is the last 5 points, lads. So it is. I have played with 8 Scottish teams and I'm an international player.
Who's this, me?
Aye, Scott, sure. Yep. I have played with 8 Scottish teams and I'm an international player.
Tommy Coyne?
Well done. Tommy
Is it?
Coyne is the answer.
Oh
He
my.
played with Dundee United.
Where did
Aye.
Dundee? Because my next one is my 5th one is, but I'm better known for the other Dundee team.
Dundee
Aye.
as well, aye.
Where did Dundee United, Andy?
I know
So
he
he
played
did.
with.
God's sake, Scott, you got that, and you get 5 points here, Scott.
Thank you, pal.
5 points, Scotty boy. Andy. Well done, by the way. Did anybody else get it, or you did switch off, did they?
Switched staff, aye. Let me check the comments, mate, quickly.
Did anybody get that quick?
There's a few, mate. There's a few.
Lunch.
The next one was that. The next
Lunch.
the fourth question was I played the 1994 World Cup. Remember?
Yeah.
I thought you might have gone with that, Andy.
Oh, cheating again. Here we go. We can't cheat if the comments are off. Right.
Is this another player we're going with?
Yes, another player, Andy. We'll start with you. All right? I
What
should
was
start
it?
with you this time.
World
Right.
Cup.
No, just a football player. All Celtic players, all right? And I'm starting
Aye.
with you.
Aye.
That's that player done. I started my career at Notts County.
Oh.
Remember, if you take a guess and you don't get it, it's your host. You've got to be bang on. So you don't just random.
Oh, I'm stuck between two. I think I'm going to. Oh, was it there? Do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to take a punt.
Oh.
Chris Commons.
That's you out already, man.
Ah, well, that's the chances, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Number,
By the way.
You ready, Scott?
Aye.
I had a spell at Kilmarnock.
Notts County had a spell at Kilmarnock. Don't know, mate. Keep going.
Number 3. I went to Everton on loan from Celtic.
Everton on loan from Celtic.
That's the last 5 point one.
Notts County. Kilmarnock.
Went to Everton on loan. Don't know, mate. Keep going.
I played with 2 Scottish clubs and 8 English teams. Aston Villa was my biggest club in the English teams at the time. I played with them all.
Oh. Bigger Rambo, maybe. No.
That's what I was thinking about. That's no Kilmarnock.
I think he played for Kilmarnock as well, but didn't he? But is that maybe just a wee...
I did play with Kilmarnock, aye.
He started at United.
Aye.
Aye, but no, right, I've got it. Tommy Johnson.
Tommy Johnson, yes.
Fucking don't believe that. Do you know what? That was other player I was going to go for the first time. It was either him or Commons. I fucking don't believe this, man.
Tommy Johnson. See, number 5. Scott, you get 3 points there, didn't you? 5 points you get there? No. I played it. No, you got that in 3, wasn't it? Aye, 3 points, mate. Scott, 3 points. The next one was my best goal was against St Mirren to win the league. That was the next one.
I was
Right,
going to Commons came into my head there. How did I not go for? Oh,
Let me check the comments, lads, quickly.
Two get at the end of the straight away.
oh dear.
I don't know. The comments are going too fast. I don't know who got it. It's moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving. Scotty cheating, asking Google. Aye, I've got like Bluetooth in my ears, cheating, checking Google, mate. Aye.
So on to the third player, lads. It's back to you, Scott, to start with.
Right.
Right. I was born in London.
But is that it?
That's it. That's it. You know the ones are the 5 pointers are right hard. No, I mean no much.
Fuck knows, mate.
Andy, ready?
Yeah.
Number 2. I had a spell in my career in New Zealand.
Is it my turn?
What?
Is it Scotty's turn or my turn?
Yours?
Yours, Andy.
I'm going to go for it. Jonathan Gould.
Well done, Andy.
Aye. Yes!
Jonathan Gould.
Can't help, mate.
5 points, Andy.
I knew he was in New Zealand. I knew that, and I was just trying to rack my brains of fucking London and.
And obviously,
Mate. Well done, pal. Well done.
Mate. Obviously, next ones I played for Scotland, and my dad was a manager and stuff. Obviously, never good. So this starts with Andy. This is the last one, all right? And I've read the this. Number 4 player, last final one. I've done the 4 players, lads. Ready? Number 1. I was born in Mansfield. Andy.
Mansfield.
Remember, if you take a gamble, you're out. This could be close, this tie.
Nah.
Number 2, my first club was Stoke City. Scott, my first club was Stoke City.
Stoke City.
Yep.
Stoke.
Nah.
Ready, Andy? This is the
Yeah,
last 5 pointer, Andy. You need this. Ready?
Yeah.
I played under Neil Lennon twice.
Oh, fucking know it now, man. I've got it. No way. Got to be, man.
Nah.
Got to be.
Ready, Scott? Right, I'll give it first clue. The clue again. This is on to 3 points now. So I was attacking midfielder who had an eye for a goal.
It's got to be Chris Commons, mate. Celtic and Hibs.
Well done, Scott. Chris Commons. You can even change that because it's only done 4 players. Andy's shouting.
Ah.
That was 3 points to Scotty boy. Scott get 5, 8, 11 to Andy's 5. Well done, boys. Well done.
That was brilliant, mate.
Raging.
Brilliant, mate. Really enjoyed that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was
Jerry's Secret Celt.
Mate, that was absolutely brilliant. Well done. Brand new segment at the podcast, the 4 Leaf Clover podcast. Jerry's Secret Celt. Again, mate, loads of preparation. Guy's got his own business. Very, very busy man, and has put that, put that together for us this evening. So, Jerry, thank you very much, my good man.
Cheers, lads.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's us until Friday night. We message there for you, Andy. At least you're improving, mate. 5 points. Well done.
Thanks.
He likes to rip into you, James, doesn't he? That's terrible.
Prick, isn't he? I love the amount of cheating accusations that going on here. It's fucking brilliant, man.
It's class. So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, that's us. We'll see you again on Friday night. Hopefully, our Paddy is back with us. We have actually acquired another contributor today, but we won't mention it just yet, and we won't let you know who it is. We're going to keep it under wraps until it's completely confirmed. But we should hopefully have a new... Andy Tim, we should have another contributor with us in the next few weeks. So that's us. We'll see you on Friday night, 7 p.m. UK time. Our Paddy will hopefully be back with us. Our Jerry and our Andy will preview the Hibs game on Sunday. We'll have a big bit about that and anything else that has happened Celtic-wise. We'll get that covered for you as well. That's us. Andy, thank you so much. Jerry, thank you so much. And everybody else as well in the comments. Brilliant tonight. Good crack as ever. And that's us. We'll see you on Friday night. Cheers.
Cheers.
On the Hoops.